Right now, somewhere in America, someone is about to spend a penny worth $4,000,000. They don't know it yet. They're about to hand it to a cashier, drop in a fountain, or toss in the trash. And the scariest part? You might be that person. 3 specific years of wheat pennies changed everything. One small detail, invisible to most people, transforms an ordinary copper coin into a collector's obsession worth hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Most people never notice, but you're about to. The question isn't whether these coins exist. The question is, are they hiding in your pocket right now? And by the end, you'll know exactly what to look for in your own coins tonight. But here's the thing. The final coin shock season collectors more than any penny in recent history. Stay with me. Now imagine this scenario. It's 1944. America is in the middle of World War II. Copper is being rationed for the war effort. The U.S. Mint is under pressure. They're producing coins as fast as the machinery allows. Workers are tired. Demand is immense. In this chaos, something remarkable happened. A worker at one of the mints created a variation so subtle that almost nobody noticed it for decades. The 1944 wheat penny is where emotional collectors get attached, because 1944 represents something. It's the year before the war ended. It's the year that symbolizes the final stretch. And somehow, that year produced varieties that became legendary among serious collectors. Here's what most people miss. They see 1944 and think they understand the coin, but there are actually different mintage levels across different mint locations. The Philadelphia Mint produced one number. San Francisco produced another. Denver produced something different. But the real story isn't about the quantities. It's about what happened to the coins that were produced. Most 1944 pennies that survived are circulated. They've been spent, handled, passed from hand to hand. The metal is worn. The details fade. That's what you expect from an 80-year-old coin that was actually used as money. But what if one escaped that fate? What if a single 1944 penny never made it into circulation? What if it was wrapped in paper and forgotten? What if it sat in someone's collection, protected, untouched, perfect? That's the 1944 variety collectors search for. An uncirculated specimen in gem condition has sold for $1,800. Not because it's impossibly rare, but because the combination of age, condition, and history creates something magical for collectors. Think about that collector's perspective for a moment. They're not just buying a coin. They're buying a piece of history that survived intact. A physical object from 1944 that never touched another person's hands. That never circulated. That never served its intended purpose as currency. Instead, it became something more valuable than currency itself. The real secret is what most viewers miss. When examining a 1944 penny, condition is everything. Not just it's in good shape. We're talking about pristine details, sharp lettering, clear date, bright luster. These aren't things the average eye can evaluate. But collectors, they know instantly. A 1944 penny in your hand could be worth anywhere from 1 cent to nearly $2,000. The difference comes down to one thing. Was it ever spent? Most people never notice what comes next. You see, the value jump from a circulated 1944 penny to an uncirculated one is dramatic. A worn 1944 penny might be worth 25 cents. The same year, same mint, same coin, but in perfect condition, jumps to $800 or $1,500. That difference? That's the treasure hunt. That's why people search through jars and collections. That's why collectors will buy dozens of 1944 pennies, looking for that one perfect specimen. This is where most people get it wrong. They look at a 1945 penny and think, okay, wheat penny, got it. They move on. But 1945 was the year something strange happened at the U.S. Mint. The mint workers, still managing production in the final months of World War II, made a decision that would create one of the most sought-after varieties in American coinage. Here's the mystery. There are actually 2 completely different 1945 wheat pennies, and they look almost identical. The first type? Normal. Common. Worth face value to maybe $1 in average condition. Millions were minted. The second type? That's where things get interesting. In 1945, the U.S. Mint briefly experimented with something: the mint mark position change. Normally, you'd see a small letter under the date showing which mint produced the coin. S for San Francisco, D for Denver. But in 1945, for a very brief window, something unusual happened. But that's not the strange part. What collectors obsess over is condition. The 1945 wheat penny in pristine condition, a coin that never circulated, never spent, never handled roughly, can sell for anywhere from $150 to $900 depending on which mint mark variation you have. But here's where the real mystery lives. Most 1945 pennies in circulation are worn smooth. Finding one with sharp details is already uncommon. Finding one that's absolutely perfect, that's where the treasure hunt becomes real. Think about that for a moment. A coin minted 80 years ago, never touched, never spent, just sitting in someone's jar or collection. That coin could be worth 900 times its face value. Most people never notice what comes next. When you examine a 1945 penny, you're not just looking at the date. You're looking at three critical details: the mint mark position, the metal composition, and the strike quality. Get all three right, and you might be holding something collectors desperately want. Here's where everything changes. A pristine 1945 penny without a mint mark, meaning it came from Philadelphia, in gem condition, has sold at auction for over $2,100. Not because it's incredibly rare, but because finding one that hasn't been touched in 8 decades is exactly what collectors dream about. The real secret is still ahead. You see, most people check for the obvious wheat pennies. They know 1943 steel pennies exist. They've heard about some valuable years. But the 1945 penny? It flies under the radar. Collectors know about it. The general public? Almost nobody. That's the advantage. When you hold a 1945 penny in your hand tonight, pause for 1 second. Check the mint mark. Look at the date. Is it crisp? Are the details sharp? Can you see Lincoln's face clearly? Can you count the individual wheat stalks on the back? If yes, you might be holding something significant. But that's just the beginning. Before we continue, stop for a moment. Put your phone down. Look around your room right now. Do you have a jar of old coins? A piggy bank from childhood? Coins your grandparent left you? What if one of these 3 pennies is already sitting in your house and you've never looked closely at it? This is the reality most people don't understand. Hidden treasures aren't in lock safes and museums. They're in kitchen drawers. They're in old mason jars. They're in a change from your great-grandmother's purse that nobody's touched in 30 years. The coins we're discussing today aren't rare in the sense that only 10 exist. Millions of them were made. But in high-grade condition, in that perfect untouched state, they become something else entirely. They become the coins that make collectors call their friends. The coins that get insured. The coins that change hands for hundreds of dollars. What if tonight you discover you're holding one of them? Here's where advanced collectors lean in and whisper about something most people have never heard of. 1946 was the first year after World War II. Copper was available again. The mint could finally use normal alloy instead of ration materials. Production exploded. The Philadelphia Mint, the San Francisco Mint, and the Denver Mint all produced massive quantities of 1946 pennies. Hundreds of millions. Actually, you'd think that a common year with massive production wouldn't create valuable varieties. But you'd be wrong. The 1946 wheat penny contains one of the most closely guarded secrets in penny collecting. And only experienced numismatists, that's what serious coin collectors call themselves, understand why. In 1946, the Denver Mint created a specific striking variation that changed everything. The question is, do you know what to look for? Here's the insider knowledge. Most people examine the obvious features: the date, the mint mark location, the overall condition. But advanced collectors look at something completely different. They look at the strike quality. They examine how deeply the die impress the metal. They study the visual characteristics that only experienced eyes recognize. A 1946 D penny. The D stands for Denver. In exceptional condition, has sold at auction for over $3,500. Not $350. Not $35. $3,500 for a penny that was minted 80 years ago. The question is, why would a penny from such a common year fetch that kind of money? The answer reveals the collector's secret. In 1946, certain dies wore down faster than others. Certain striking variations occurred, and certain combinations of variables created coins that are extremely difficult to find in top condition. We're talking about coins where collectors need to examine multiple specimens to find one worthy of their collection. Think about that for a moment. A collector might examine 50 different 1946 deep pennies before finding one that meets their standards. That's the exclusivity. That's what drives the value. Most viewers miss this entirely. They see 1946 penny and think it's worthless because it's common. But advanced collectors know that rarity in the numismatic world doesn't always mean few coins exist. Sometimes it means finding a good example is nearly impossible. Here's where everything changes. The 1946 penny represents the insider knowledge section of numismatics. It's what separates casual coin enthusiasts from serious collectors. A beginner looks at the date. An advanced collector looks at the strike characteristics, the die state, the luster preservation, and the alignment of the design elements. The real secret is still ahead. You need to understand that condition tiers matter enormously. The difference between very fine and extremely fine and gem uncirculated isn't just terminology. Each step up the grading scale represents coins that are exponentially harder to find. And when you reach the highest tiers, you're in the world of serious numismatic investment. A 1946 penny in gem condition without a mint mark, Philadelphia, has sold for $2,400. The same coin worn might be worth 50 cents. That's not a minor difference. That's a transformation. The shocking thing? Most of these coins are sitting in collections that people inherited. Someone's grandfather bought them 60 years ago. They've been sitting in a box. The current owner doesn't even realize they're holding something valuable. What if your inherited coins include a 1946 penny in perfect condition? Pay close attention now. What we just covered represents something crucial. These aren't theoretical coins. These aren't rare specimens that only exist in museums. Real people are finding these coins. Real collectors are buying them. Real values are being discovered every single day. You think that's impressive? The next layer gets stranger. Here's what most people don't understand. Checking your coins doesn't cost anything. It takes 5 minutes. You need a good light, a magnifying glass, and basic knowledge. You need to know what to look for. And now you know. The coins we're covering today are special because they hit that exact sweet spot. Enough were produced that they might be in your possession right now. But in high condition, they're uncommon enough that collectors actively search for them. That's the treasure hunt. That's why these years matter. What comes next is even harder to believe. The coin market has fundamentally changed in the last 5 years. Where it used to be difficult to sell valuable coins, now there are multiple platforms, online auctions, specialized dealers, grading services. A coin that might have been impossible to sell 20 years ago, today, you can sell it within weeks. But here's the reality most people miss. The window for finding these coins is closing. Every year, more coins are lost. They're damaged. They're spent. They disappear into collections where they'll never be evaluated. The coins that survive, the ones in perfect condition, become more valuable precisely because they're harder to find. This creates an interesting situation. If you have a 1944, 1945, or 1946 wheat penny in excellent condition sitting in a drawer, the decision point is approaching. Do you have it professionally graded? Do you sell it? Do you keep it as part of collection? Most people freeze at this decision. They don't know where to start. They don't know whether their coin is actually valuable. They don't know how to authenticate it. So it sits, and years pass. That's the tragedy. Hidden treasure that stays hidden. The emotional truth is this. Somewhere in America, someone is going to discover that their inherited penny collection contains a 1946 D worth $3,500, or a 1945 specimen worth $2,100, or a 1944 penny worth $1,800. They're going to feel that rush of discovery. That moment when something ordinary transforms into something significant. The question is whether that person will be you. Because these coins aren't theoretical. They exist. Collectors are actively searching for them. Auction houses are selling them for serious money. And if they're in your possession, they're waiting to be recognized. The hardest part? Taking action. Most people watch videos like this and feel motivated for 10 minutes. Then they forget. They move on. They don't actually check their coins. And years later, they might accidentally spend or lose something valuable. Don't be that person. The truth about rare coins isn't that they're impossible to find. The truth is that hidden treasures are everywhere. They're overlooked because most people never learn where to look. Think about what you just learned. 3 specific years. 3 specific varieties. Each one sitting in jars, drawers, and collections across America. Some in perfect condition. Most people walking past them every single day without recognizing their value. That's what makes this different from other treasure hunts. You're not searching for something exotic or foreign. You're searching your own surroundings. Your inherited coins. Your chained collections. Your grandmother's jar in the attic. The coins are probably already near you. You just haven't examined them with the right knowledge. And that's powerful. Because once you understand what to look for, everything changes. That ordinary penny becomes a question mark. Could it be valuable? Should you have it examined? What if it's worth more than you thought? That shift in perspective, from it's just a penny to wait, could this be something? Is where the real discovery begins. Most people overlook hidden value their entire lives. They pass precious objects without recognition. They inherit collections without understanding what they have. They spend coins worth hundreds of dollars without knowing. That's the tragic reality. But you're different now. You understand that tiny details create enormous value. You understand that age, condition, and rarity combine to create treasure. You understand that the coins hiding in plain sight are often the ones worth searching for. Tonight, when you finish this video, you have a choice. You can forget everything you learned. You can move forward like you never watched this. Or you can take 10 minutes. You can find some old coins. You can look carefully. You can check for the varieties we discussed. What you might discover could genuinely surprise you. Hidden treasures belong to those who know where to look. Sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones we've overlooked for years. The next fortune you discover may already be in your pocket. Here's what I need you to do right now. Stop watching. Go find your coins. Check them tonight. Look specifically at any 1944, 1945, or 1946 wheat pennies you have. Examine them under good light. Look at the condition. Look at the mint marks. Really look. Then come back. Comment what you find. Tell me about the coins in your collection. Tell me if you discovered anything that shocked you. Tell me your story. Because you might be the person who finds a hidden treasure. The coin community thrives on discoveries. Someone watching this right now is going to pull out a penny collection and realize they're holding something valuable. That person could be you. And your discovery might inspire someone else to check their own coins. This is how real treasure hunts work. People helping people recognize value. Sharing discoveries. Building excitement around the hunt. Don't let this moment disappear. Check your coins tonight. Hidden value belongs to those who know where to look.